Truth is, we're the Evans of new.
Bitch, you look like money.
What about the struggle?
We're black. It'll be here tomorrow.
Everything black sky, black. Wait a minute. The baby? Lil baby? And baby? Too many babies around this crib.
Today is the debut of your new animation, Good Times. Just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, it's obviously the IP of Good Times. Everybody knows what that is, and there's such a it's on a pedestal of shows that represent black culture, black social commentary, black family. This is a different take on that, so the name will ring, but an animated series that's kind of driven towards the adult audience. It's a little different, so you take that for what it is. And
you're going to be watching it with the family?
I will not be with my kids, no.
What's up, everyone? It's Books&Looks TV. Today, I will be discussing the recently aired animated Good Times that is showing on Netflix. The original Good Times aired in the 70s. In the original show, they fought hard to keep the scene as realistic and positive for black families as possible. And it wasn't a perfect show, but it did explore situations that black people in the ghetto dealt with. This new show, though, is maybe 10 times worse, at least through the previews and trailers, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to watch the show. And I think that the outlandish nature of the TV show just looks like basically an animated minstrel show. And that's why it's garnered backlash. So the executive producers on the Netflix show happen to be Steph Curry, the original producer, Lear, and Seth MacFarlane. They say that it's a spiritual sequel of sorts to the live-action original, which centered on the fourth generation of the Evans family living in apartment 17C of a Chicago housing project. A lot of people feel like that this show has pushed us back because, again, the original show wasn't great, but this show just seems to be really ratchet. And that, to me, also, that kind of like makes it seem like that black people of today, or someone like Steph Curry, I don't know if he's black or mixed, honestly. Even if he's mixed, like, why would you tolerate this type of nonsense? And I thought it was kind of interesting, too, how there was, like, an interviewer, and he asked him, are you going to watch this show with your kids? And he was like, no. So, hopefully, a bunch of black folks and letting their children watch this, because it's obvious that it's some trash. And so, I'm just going to read some public opinions.
Steph Curry, Norman Lear, and Seth MacFarlane. What were y'all thinking? What was y'all thinking? This is what y'all get. Don't you ever do that again. Don't ever come around here, yo. Yo, son, don't ever do that again, for real. Good Times, Seth MacFarlane. You get the curb stomping treatment like you did to the Bird is the Word in Family Guy when Brian and Stewie did that jump. Yeah, that's what y'all get too. How dare you? How dare you, yo? Yo. Steph Curry, Norman Lear, and Seth MacFarlane. What was y'all thinking? Did y'all really think this was gonna fly with us? Yeah, you wasn't thinking at all. Trust me. I get it. The original Good Times was a classic. I mean, for real. I grew up watching those episodes, and when James Evans left the household and JJ was left there to be the jokester and the clown, I saw all that craziness. But it was a great show, and I loved it. We all could relate to it a little bit. I never grew up in the projects of the hood, but I could relate to the show because it was black folks making the best of times, making the good of times that were kind of bad. What the heck is this? I'm going to tell you why this didn't work. Flat out. Black people, we've evolved, okay? I understand all the black tropes that we used to go on back in the days, you know what I'm saying? The struggle and roaches and all that stuff. I get all that, for real. I understand that, you feel me? And it used to be funny back in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, even in the 2000s a bit, you know what I'm saying? We used to see that and we were like, ooh, we kind of can relate, you know? It's hard being black. It's hard going through things in the hood. It's hard we seen all that. It's 2024 now, folks. We not thinking that way no more. We a little bit more woke now. You can't use the same old humor that you used based on our stereotypes to appeal to us, because we distance ourselves from those things kind of now. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's ratchetness everywhere, son. For real, for real. There is. But a lot of us who watch TV shows like this now, we're looking for something more to represent us. You know, we had shows like Blackish, like, and Marcel Martin, you in this? Yo, you was on Blackish. You should be able to represent us better than that. You feel me? Like, come on, y'all. We got to get out of this whole stereotyping ourselves anymore. It's done. It's finished. It's dead. Let's stop doing that. We can do better. We know we can do better now. Some of us are doing way better. So this kind of humor doesn't appeal to our generation or our crowd anymore, if you know what I'm saying. It's embarrassing to watch. I tried watching the first episode, trying to get through the first one. And I got through the first one, but man, it was a teeth-gritting watch. And then to try to start the second one, I was like, there's going to be more of this? Nah, yo. I'm sorry, but unless y'all can come with something better that appeals to black folks now than some of the rudimentary, you know, base level stuff that we used to get into, you're going to lose us every single time. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves for even trying to do this. And all the actors involved, I know y'all trying to get the paycheck and everything like that, but nah. Big old thumbs down when it comes to this show. Y'all don't even waste your time, please. Go watch the old one if you really want to go see some good times.
After watching this Good Times reboot, I'm genuinely considering if I really want to keep my Netflix subscription. I knew complaining that there were lack of black writers on the original show and that he didn't like JJ's character. So what did they do? They wrote him off. They wrote him off the show. And Esther Royal was complaining the same thing about JJ's character. They were focusing on too much of his antics and he was cooning. I don't know if you can say it on TikTok, but he was cooning. And they didn't like it. So she left a season after. She was gone for a whole year, and she then came back when they told her they would change it. But then you went back and you upped it by 100. After 50 years, y'all upped it by 100. As of today, April 13th, the show premiered on April 12th. It's got a 3.7 stars on IMDb. 111 people probably rated it. I'm gonna give it a 1, a 1.5. The same score that Velma got, I'm giving that score. It gets a 1.5. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't. I'm not even trying to hate. It wasn't even funny. Like, if it was his own show, like it had its own name, it probably would have been still trash, but it wouldn't get like this backlash, because now you have attached Good Times to this bullshit. Netflix, you gotta do better, bro. Like, you don't even come with a season 2.
Now, I know it's not a remake, it's a continuation, but this trailer doesn't embody anything that made the original pull me in. In the original, the father, James, played by John Amos, was no nonsense, but the son, JJ, played by Jimmy Walker, was the king of shucking and jiving, so there was a balance. Eventually, John complained that the writers put in too much JJ buffoonery, and they killed John off. After that, the shucking and jiving was ramped up, and a lot of those later seasons are really fucking hard to watch. And the reason I brought all that up, because all the characters on here seem like a bunch of fucking JJs, and I don't see how you can balance that out. The trailer was filled with a bunch of bad one-liners, horrible animation. I just saw a recent episode of Invincible where they was on some meta shit. They literally broke down how you can do cheap shit to save money on animation, and these motherfuckers got that memo early. This whole shit just seemed like an amalgamation of coonetry. They got babies pulling out guns and selling drugs and shit. This is stupid. Who wrote this shit? I'm gonna give this shit 1 episode. If it ain't right, I'm going to fuck off. Song of the week, Back Again by Joseph Yarbrough. Streaming everywhere.
I mean, I'm just telling you, the wows are just wowing today. What is this garbage? You got the Netflix Good Times, and Steph Curry he's the executive producer. Steph Curry produced this? You've got to be kidding me. Not private school, grown up in a privileged household. Steph Curry, son of Del Curry, makes some garbage like this? Wow, there's no bounds. We can't even have any decency from people we think are decent. This is crazy. I'm telling you, Netflix should be held to the carpet too. But come on now. This is some of the worst stereotypical depictions of hoodness that I've never seen. Wow, Steph Curry, you ought to be ashamed of yourself, and Netflix you too. Please, man, this is crazy. Wow.
Y'all, I tried to be open-minded. I tried to give it a chance. I tried to watch the first couple episodes. I said, you know what? I want to have a mind of my own. I don't want to follow groupthink. You know, I saw the trailer and I saw people were saying, steer clear. And I didn't want to follow groupthink, but sometimes the group be thinking. And I should have stayed away from it because I just got a few questions. Why within the first 10 minutes we find out that the family is living off of Spam and onions, and the father's favorite food is Spam and onions and bacon wrapped corn with Takis and brown liquor? Why did he hop out the shower with his meat out in front of his daughter? Where did that come from? Why would that even happen? Why is he so unintelligent? Why is there a drug dealing baby who's getting into multiple bangouts with rappers like Da Baby, Lil Baby, and Birdman? Why is he sucking a pacifier while standing on a corner selling dope? And this is supposed to be one of their kids. This is supposed to be one of the Evans kids. Also, this is one of the kids that the father has put out the house. He's a drug dealing baby that done got put out the house. Okay, and he's in multiple bangouts with rappers. Why is the mother so obsessed with aesthetic and appearance to the point that she's neglecting her child in order to win a home decorating competition, and not for money, so that they can have a month of rent and 2 weeks of no roaches? Why are roaches basically a character in the show? And the reason I say the roaches are basically another character because they keep bringing them up. Why in episode 2 is the daughter, who's supposed to be this intelligent activist, betting her brother that he can't get a highest test grade score than her, and whoever gets the lowest score has to pick the roaches out of the cereal? Why are we pushing the fact that this family is poor and dumb and their house is ridden with roaches and they can't pay their bills? They have no heat, so they're in fear of winning the competition for who has the best looking apartment so that they can get free rent, because they can't afford the rent, they can't afford the hot water, they got a house full of roaches, they living off of spam and onions. The two best things about the show is the fact that Gray, the daughter, is an activist, but even that is over dramatized. And the second best thing is the fact that Junior, the other son, is an artist, which kinda is reminiscent of JJ. And don't get me wrong, I do realize that this family is not supposed to be the Evans family from Good Times. They are supposed to be, I think, 3 generations later. However, what is really going on here? Why is it that in episode 2, when Junior and his sister Gray was in competition for who could get the better grade, the only way Junior was able to beat Gray is because he took a focus pill, a pill to help him focus? And why is it that when y'all went inside his mind and y'all did that whole depiction of what the inside of his brain looks like, why did y'all have somebody playing the stereotypical role of an enslaved person? What was the reason for that? And trust me, I see that y'all trying to have these little messages in every episode, and they say put the medicine in the candy, but baby, this is too much candy and the medicine ain't even that strong. Honestly, I feel like I'm getting punked. Oh, you know what? Better yet, I feel like I'm getting bamboozled. This is reminding me a lot of Spike Lee's message in the movie Bamboozled, or a modern version of a similar message which was in the movie American Fiction. And to be honest with you, the only reason I gave Good Times the cartoon, aka the new Evans, an opportunity despite what the trailer looked like, is because I share similar sentiments that Issa Rae expressed in this film. See, in American Fiction, Jeffrey Wright portrays an author named Monk who writes a very crazy, outlandish novel that over-dramatizes stereotypes about black people. And he does it to prove a point that this is what they want. They're trying to embarrass us. They're trying to play with us. They want these over-dramatized stereotypical roles. That's the only thing that they will accept. And he thinks that when he does it, his hope is that it will be rejected and it will spark some commentary. But in actuality, he receives a lot of praise and even wins an award for it. Issa Rae plays a character who's also an author, and some of her writings also have very stereotypical roles. The difference between these two characters is that she really writes like that. He's doing it out of spite. So they sit down and have a conversation, and in that conversation, he basically confronts her about her writings. Like, don't you feel like your writings are a bit stereotypical? Don't you feel like you are kind of painting black people in a negative light? And she essentially drives home the point that black people are not a monolith. All of our stories deserve to be told, regardless of socioeconomic status, education status, etc.
I don't need to write about my life. I write about what interests people.
You write what interests white publishers fiending black trauma porn.
They're the one buying the manuscripts. Is it bad to cater to their tastes?
If you're okay feeding people's base desires for profit.
I'm okay with giving the market what it wants.
That's how drug dealers excuse themselves.
And I think drugs should be legal.
But you're not fed up with it. The black people in poverty, black people rapping, black people as slaves, black people murdered by the police, whole soaring narratives about black folks in dire circumstances who still manage to maintain their dignity before they die. I mean, I'm not saying these things aren't real, but we're also more than this. And it's like so many writers like you can't envision us without some white boot on our necks.
Do you get angry at Bret Easton Ellis or Charles Bukowski for writing about the downtrodden? Or is your ire strictly reserved for black women?
Yeah, nobody reads Bukowski thinking his is the definitive white experience, but white people read your book and confine us to it. They think that we're all like that.
Then it sounds like your issue is with white people, Monk, not me.
Well, maybe, but I also think that I see the unrealized potential of black people in this country.
Potential is what people see when they think what's in front of them isn't good enough.
And see, I too share those sentiments. I too feel like all of our stories need to be told. Black people are not a monolith. There are black folks who live in the hood. Unfortunately, there are some black folks who live in the projects for multiple generations. So when I found out that the Evans family was still in the projects, I was like, that's realistic for some black people's experience. So I'm not going to shun the show just for that reason. However, there's too many negative stereotypes, and I'm talking about over-dramatized traumatized negative stereotypes placed in this one show. It's one thing to have the family living in the projects, but why does every male in the show, the father and the sons, have to be so uneducated? Why do they have to be portrayed as pure stupid? Why is it that they have to be in a roach infested apartment picking roaches out of the cereal? Why are they living off of Spam and onions in his favorite food, bacon wrapped corn, Takis, and brown liquor? Why do we have to have those stereotypes? And what is with all of the close-ups of cartoon boobs and booty? Why are there multiple bang-outs between rappers and a baby sucking a pacifier who's selling dope on a corner? Y'all, what is going on here? And I'ma just say this, the only way this show could recover for me is if a documentary comes out by one of the producers or the showrunner and they prove the point that, hey, you've been bamboozled. Hey, this is an American fiction type of thing where we just wanted to prove the point that we've tried to pitch multiple shows to Netflix showing black people in a positive light, educated, doing well, financially stable, or even prosperous. God forbid we could actually be prosperous. Let us see that you tried to pitch a show that was much better than this, that portrayed us in a more positive light than this, and Netflix rejected it. So you bamboozled the situation. You American fiction the situation and gave them this, and they actually accepted it. That is the only way the show could recover for me, is if a documentary comes out and you show us that you actually tried and there was a point to all of this. But if not, what is the point of all of this? Executive producers, y'all got some explaining to do.
I don't understand why black people continue to go for stuff like this. This is ridiculous. There should be outrage. There should be talks of boycotting Netflix, boycotting the new remake of Good Times, because this right here is ridiculous. Let's talk about it. Good Times is a show about a black family who is economically challenged living in the ghetto in the hood. But they are very biblical. They're about God. They're about Christ. Life lessons, very much showing a black family in a very positive light. Now they're saying that they're remaking that, and I don't understand how we go from the top picture to the picture at the bottom. On top of that, if you see the trailer, they actually have a drug dealing baby. You've over-sexualized Florida Evans by making the hips poke out. You got her with the little tight stuff, boobs out. That wasn't how Miss Flo was dressed in the original Good Times. You got the dad with the gold chain on. You got him up in the bar looking like he on substances. There was a drug dealing baby. It's like, what is this? Then they slap Steph Curry's name on there to kind of lessen the blow, because they know when black people see Steph Curry, they're, oh, he played basketball, because they know y'all idolize celebrities. So they know that's how they're going to get away with it, by putting Steph Curry name on there. Mind you, Steph Curry grew up in a two-parent household with a loving mother and a father who played basketball. He was very well off, very to-do. He is Rudy Huxtable. He is the Huxtable kid. What does he know about a family growing up economically challenged in the hoods of Chicago? But because he done slapped his name on there, I guess black people just okay with it. This is what's wrong with black community and black people. Because had this been another group of people, they wouldn't even be going for this. How do you guys let them turn such a positive show that shows black family, black Christian family, a loving father, a loving mother, yes, economically challenged, but holding their family together, that taught so many life lessons to this? A drug dealing baby, a father who stay at the bar, a mom who looked like she just got a BBL yesterday. Are you guys kidding me? Am I the only one outraged by this? And Steph Curry, you're a plant. Because why would you even want to put your name on something like this? Make it a different show. Make it a different show. But the blasphemy to say that you are redoing Good Times, this is not a redo of Good Times. This is ridiculous.
I want names. I want faces. Who told you that was okay? I want to know. Because the shit ain't okay. I know it's animation. I know we embellish. I know we live in an age where everything ain't fair. It's crime, it's pestilence, it's all of these things. And yes, it's absolutely true from the standpoint, roaches, rats, etc., etc. I grew up around a little bit of that, actually a lot of that. And if you're poor and desolate, chances are that's a part of your experience too. I've never seen it depicted in a sitcom, though, animated or otherwise. This is the first. And I never thought in my wildest dreams that Steph Curry himself would have something to do with something like this. Well, why would you use Good Times? And why would Good Times be associated with a baby being a drug dealer and talking to roaches in the shower? I want names. I want faces. Who told you that was okay?
And another thing about this Good Times animation, this trash of a show. You see, it has you got to understand what's going on too. Not only does it help to continue to perpetuate negative stereotypes of magically melanated, but it also continues to program the minds of everyone else, and even some of us, that our children, us basically, are born as criminals. That's why they made the baby a baby drug dealing baby that has shootouts, because they're trying to propagate the mindset and the mentality that we are born criminals from the birth. Not that circumstances create people to do criminal acts, but we're born criminals from the birth. So that causes everybody else, including the police and including some of us, to treat us as criminals soon as they see us without getting to know us. That's the first thought that comes in their head. That's what you call programming. That's what you call brain dirtying. It's not brainwashing, it's brain dirtying. A lot of us need our brains washed clean of some of the negative influences and negative thoughts, all the negative influences and negative thoughts and lies this world has caused us to believe. So Steph Curry, once again, shame on you for being part of that production, man. Norman Lear, Seth MacFarlane, that's what y'all do. You know, say what you want to say. Everybody has to pay for the wrongs that they're done. The Most High y'all call it karma, but the Most High said, no, you got to pay for that either now or on the other side in the afterlife, because there's another existence besides this one, in case y'all don't know. But yeah, that drug dealing, armed gun carrying, and armed shootout getting into baby is part of their programming to propagate the madness that we're born criminals. We're criminals from the womb, and thus people treat us as such. All praises to the Most High.
Someone says its executive producers are Steph Curry and Seth MacFarlane. I don't know much about Seth MacFarlane, but Steph Curry is a very successful NBA star that grew up in an upper-class household with both parents. His father played in the NBA for many years, and his mother was the principal of a school she owns. Steph Curry attended that school, a Christian Montessori, as a child, and he credits his mother's school with being the key to his success. Maybe it's just me, but I'm confused as to why he didn't produce a show about his own upbringing, which seems way more interesting to me. So where would he get this idea to produce a show that depicts a black family in a derogatory way? How is this Good Time? Why not produce a show that shows how two black parents can balance one being a pro athlete and the other being a school principal and still raise successful, well-spoken children who then become pistol-packing drug dealers? Instead, they produce a show dedicating a black father as a broke idiot who can't even stop his own toddler son from dealing drugs and carrying guns, and the older sister walks around with flies flying around her face all day. They even kick the toddler out the house for selling drugs, and just before he leaves, the mother makes sure the toddler has his gun. And Netflix says this is a spiritual sequel. Spiritual for who? Just look at how they paint us and what they think of us. And I hear people always screaming about how the children are acting up because the father isn't at home. Well, according to shows, like BMF and this new Good Times nonsense, even when the father is home, he can't even stop his own babies from destroying the community and themselves. So what good is the father being home if he is to be disregarded and disrespected for not wanting his sons to be drug dealers who inevitably gets killed or spend their lives in prison? The Good Times reboot on Netflix got niggas harmonizing with roaches. Steph Curry is gonna pay for this. That's crazy. It looks and sounds like a whole bunch of funky BS. Why produce it if you won't watch it and would not expose your children to it? Big money and credit for being a producer. I would have thought Steph wouldn't have put his name on this type of crap. So, yeah, that's all I pretty much have to say about this. What do y'all think about it? Have y'all watched the show? Is it better than the trailers or some of these public opinions? Let me know. And thank you so much for listening to Books and Looks TV. I'll see y'all next time.